Hello, everyone. Today I'll be talking about studying and living in Australia. First thing, because it's about studying, I'll start with the top 10 universities in Australia. First one is Khine Moe, University of Melbourne, University of Sydney, Australian National University, University of Queensland, Monash University, University of New South Wales, Adelaide, University of Western Australian, University of Technology, Sydney, and University of Canberra. So the start one are the group of 8 members. The group of 8 members universities are the top university. They are in this group of 8 group, and they are mostly known for the research path. So the universities in Melbourne are Uni Mel and Monash, and Sydney, New South Wales, and UTS, they are in Sydney. ANU and Canberra in Canberra, and Queensland in Queensland, Adelaide in Adelaide, and Western Australian University in Western Australian. So among them, Monash is something that is not named after a place, but named after a person. So there is a guy called Sir John Monash who studied Monash University. So that's why Monash is named after him. And I am from Monash University. So these are the basic requirements when you apply for universities in Australia. So if you have finished grade 11 in government school, or if you have finished IGCSE O-level, you will need to do a foundation year before you go to university, because you, compared to their high school students, you are a year younger and you still need a year of education before you go into university. Just like the other university, you will need to be 18 years old when you get into university. For those who finish IGCSE A-level, you can skip the foundation year and go straight to university. So my process was, I finished a grade 10 in Yangon, and for the Trinity College, they take government school marks. You have to have at least 70%, 70 plus average marks to get into Trinity College. For English test, you can either do IELTS, or you can also take their English test. I took IELTS test, but before I got my result, my agent said, "Oh, there's a Trinity College English test. If I want to try, I can take it." So I took it. They liked my marks was good enough for them, so I didn't had to use my IELTS test. So I got into Trinity College. From Trinity College, you can get into pretty much any university. So Trinity College was where I did my foundation year. But to get into the university, so it depends on which major, which uni you're going, but having an average around 80 would be good. And so you can probably get into a lot of major if you have an average around 80. Then with that marks, I went into Monash University. I'm doing accounting and finance in Monash there. I am in my 4th year and the final year. Finding internship and work experience in foreign country is always hard. So it's harder as an international student. The main hurdles are, you compare to their citizen, you have the lack of experiences, because in Myanmar, people don't, parents, they don't allow kids to work. We don't have part-time jobs, so we don't have that much experiences. So compared to them, we don't have anything to write on our resume. So we have a lack of experience, and most of the job, the requirement is you need to be either citizen or you have to have the permanent residency. So it's a big hurdle. For the first one, lack of experiences, you can do a lot of things to make up to it, but not being a citizen and PR, you really cannot do anything about it. So a lot of job, when you apply for it, you will see the requirement, and it is depressing when you keep seeing it. So some ways to get experiences, you can do volunteering, you can join university clubs, and you can also try and do hospitality jobs. So they are quite common and a lot of people do it. Like you work in restaurants or you work in cafes and stuff. They don't really require that much of experiences before, unless you do a specific job like working at a bar and stuff. For those ones, you will need to get some license. Like if you're working as a bar or working at a bar or club, you need to have a license for serving alcohol and stuff. But they are quite easy to get it. But some, depending on the license, some are free, some are you need to pay. So how is the minimum wage in Australia? So as of 1st July of 2021, the minimum wage is $20.33 per hour. Is it good enough? It is like high pay. An average meal would cost around 12 to 15. That's like a very basic one. So well, compared to that meal, 20 is quite good. And right now, because Melbourne is in lockdown and a lot of people cannot go to work. So what government is doing that is that if you can work due to the lockdown, the government is paying you money. So some of my friends they got paid a lot. They got like $450 per week, I think. And some of them are saying that that is a lot higher than their normal salary. Somehow, I think one of my friends got like 700 per week because he used to work around 35 hours per week. So as for international students, you can only work 20 hours per week. But since this year, because of lockdowns, for the hospitality jobs, they have increases to 40 hours per week. So that's how much you can work. But I don't recommend working too much if you are if you're an international student studying there, because international student, you cannot do part-time studying, you have to do full-time. So you need to take 4 subjects per unit, 4 units per semester. So if you want to have that nice balance between work and life and study and everything, you shouldn't be working too much, or you'll be a depressed and stressed student. Australian weather, it's quite interesting. I live in Melbourne. Melbourne weather is very interesting. It will be sunny and it can be suddenly windy and rainy, and it's very bad in rainy season because you have the wind and the rain at the same time. So most of the time you cannot use umbrella, it will be just useless. So it's better to just walk in the rain or have a good raincoat that you can use in rainy season. In winter, in the very early morning, it can be very cold. Very cold for Melbourne, it will be around 10 or 12. But in the afternoon, it can be hot, really hot. And then when you have class in the morning and then you are wearing a thick jacket, when you finish your class around afternoon, your jacket will be useless because it will be really hot. So you just have to carry the jacket for the whole day. Australia is an island country and the island is quite big. So most of the time, Brisbane weather and Melbourne weather will be different. So I have a friend in Brisbane, and every time I call her, it doesn't matter whether it's like rainy season or winter, she'll be in her shorts, and then I'll be in my hoodie and then opening the heater because it's really cold in Melbourne, and then it's still very sunny in Brisbane. Brisbane has quite a good weather to live because it's always sunny. Transportation, there are a lot of ways to go around in Melbourne. These are the ones we have in Melbourne. So we have trams, train, buses. So for those 3, you can use this card called Myki card. You can top up at the tram station, train station. You cannot really top up at bus station. And for the students, for international students, undergrad, you can get, I think, 50% discount. And for under 18s and for senior people, I think above like 60 or 65 years old, we can also get discount cards. It's very important to have your Myki card all the time, and then make sure that you tap on every time you get onto one of these, and you tap off when you get off one of these, because they have really strict regulations about it, and then there are always like officers on the trams or train always checking whether you have paid for the ride or not. and the fine is around 200, I think. One time I forgot to tap on. It's not that I forgot that I didn't have any money in my Nike card, and then I jumped onto the tram and I got caught. I think I had to pay around 200 for that. So make sure you tap on all the time. Make sure it's always pre-filled. There are a lot of people who ride bicycle around the city as well. It's quite common, but it's a bit dangerous because you're not cycling on the pavement. You're cycling right beside the car, like on the car lane. So it's a bit dangerous if you're not used to it. But there are still a lot of people who do it. A lot of people enjoy walking as well because we have these very effective trams and trains. So go from one place to another with tram, and then if you have like a short distance, you would just walk. I normally travel with tram and train. I sometimes use this bus, but I don't like that much because you cannot really estimate the time. I have encountered so many times where I missed the bus right in front of my eyes. With the tram and train, they are more accurate and they are faster. Australia is very famous for its animal, but they are not always cute and lovely animals. So this one called magpie, they like to attack you a lot. They are sort of like the crows we have here, but they are much bigger and their eyes are much larger as well, really big. It's quite intimidating looking at them. They like to attack you. It happens all the time. They really like to attack people. I don't know why. And then the seagulls, they like to take your food all the time as well. It doesn't matter whether you are at the beach or in the city, they will still be there. Australia is known for a lot of spider as well. I haven't really met any big spider, but I have seen one time a spider was in my roommate's bedroom at night. So it was a bit difficult at the time because it was just like three girls living at in a house, and then we didn't really know what to do with a spider. Koala, most of the time when you go to zoo, you will see koala, but they were just sleeping. Kangaroos, a lot of the time, if you use highways, when you drive from one city to another, you will see a lot of dead bodies of kangaroo on the road. Kangaroos like to jump around all the time, and then a lot of the time they are hit by the car. So you will see a lot of dead kangaroos on the road. And kangaroos are larger than what we expected. They can be really big sometimes, but they are still cute. That's it. Thank you for listening to my quite short presentation. Do you have any questions you want to ask to me?